Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.
Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the World Center of Racing, Daytona International Speedway for the Season 11 finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker here on Apex Racing TV. I'm Greg Ginsberg, right here by my side in the commentary box, as always, is a wary Lefty McLeod, along with Jonathan Grabowski working behind the scenes, giving you all the best views of tonight's action. Originally built in 1959 and a staple of endurance racing, the Speedway's 3.5-mile, 12-turn road course offers a thrilling blend of speed and technicality, from the high-speed banked turns of the oval to the twisty infield section, demanding precision and car control, especially, and this is going to be key tonight, in traffic. And when you throw in tonight's 75-minute sprint format that will present some unique strategic challenges, Larry and I will be talking about that as the night goes on, this should be a race worthy of champions. So good evening, Larry. Welcome to round number 8, the season finale.
Yeah, tonight we get to hand out some championships, and I'm excited about that. We did a couple last week in our sports car series, but tonight it is the World Challenge finale at Daytona. What a greater venue is there than here at Daytona to crown champions, to have a true fair fight race. This place is really built for it, and I think we've got some great fights to talk about tonight. Obviously GTP, a couple of other classes we'll get to. I'm just excited to see what this comes down to see who can really step up, get the win in the finale that they absolutely need to clinch that championship.
Yeah, indeed. And so we've got our GT3 racers, our LMP2 racers, and our GTP racers taking to the track. Actually, they've been out now for some of them for as much as 5 minutes for our 15-minute qualifying session, where we give our drivers 4 opportunities to set their fastest flying lap and set the grid for tonight's 75-minute run to the checkered flag, as we're on board right now with Josh Chinsky, our championship leader in the LMP2 class. And you'll be able to tell the difference between our LMP2 racers and our GTP racers. Of course, all of the LMP2 racers are driving a Dallara chassis, but they have the blue number boards on the front and on the sides of their cars, blue mirrors and plates on their wings and windshield banners, as opposed to our GTP racers like Dalton Fredericks here in the number 20 Porsche 963, and our GTP racers, and I think Dalton's about ready to go bye-bye, there he goes, all of the GTP racers, here's another one in another Porsche, Jim Pfeiffer, they've got the black number boards and black windshield banners, and sometimes not black end plates on their wings, but look for the black versus the blue. It's one big bruise, and that's how you'll know. And then, of course, we've got our GT3 racers out on track right now, and we are taking a look at Mike Dam, and Mike driving the number 93 Corvette, and all of our GT3 racers, they've got the red number boards on the cars, mirrors and plates on the wings, and windshield banners as well. And Larry, if we take a look at where we stand in qualifying, looks like the majority of our GTP field has already taken their allotted 4 flying laps. One that just decided to take the car back to the pits after only 3 laps is our championship leader in GTP. That's Ben Rose in the number 5 Acura.
Yeah, it's a very good lap time there, getting out of the deep into the 29s. We'll see if I don't think anybody has any laps left to give. That's a pretty solid run there for Ben Rose, right where he wants to start this championship finale race, right from the front row. Indeed.
And so Ben comes into the evening, as we mentioned, our championship leader, and he's got, this is actually, I think, one of the tighter battles that we have going into this finale here, Larry, where Ben Rose for DNA Motorsports, and John, if we could throw up the point standings maybe here for GTP, we've got Ben with a total of 381 points, and that is only 12 points up on Fanta Power Racing's Dalton Fredericks, and I believe we're going to be talking to Dalton in just a few moments here, and hopefully we'll see him in the chat and in our green room, and I believe he is, so we'll bring him in here in just a moment. And Tanner Dibble from DNA Motorsports, only 2 points back from Fredericks, so real tight here going into the final round. So let's bring in Dalton Fredericks and get his views on tonight's race.
All right, joining us here pre-race, a couple minutes to go until game time. Dalton Fredericks. Dalton, you come into this with a shot. What are you thinking about your chances here against the DNA team that's going to be bookending you?
Well, unfortunately, after this update, I think we are a little bit behind on pace, but hopefully we can try to stay along with them guys. And I think for this race, our best bet is to try to capitalize on their mistakes. If they make a mistake behind a GT3 car or LMP2 car, whatever it is, we got to try to stay up there and capitalize on what we can and hope for a really good finish here. And what would be awesome would be a win, but that'll be a hard one today for sure.
Well, it may not come easy, but I guess with the end of the iRacing season and updates coming along always seems to throw a bit of a wrinkle into it. Have you had a chance to do a lot of practicing? Does the fuel calculation change? Does your setup change? How does that impact you going into this finale now being part of a new season of iRacing?
Yeah, we ran some practice throughout the week, and the car is definitely a lot faster. I think all the GTP cars overall are a lot faster, but we weren't able to make the adjustments we would have liked throughout the week to really get us to compete with the Acuras especially. So I think for fuel wise too, I think it's pretty much the same. I think we're going to be a little bit less. We're going to go through our fuel a little bit faster, but probably not a whole lot faster. But hopefully we can stay up there and contend and hopefully have a good finish.
Okay, that's what we're looking for tonight. Hopefully, is a good contended race around for all the you guys involved here, because this is one of the tightest finishes we've had certainly here in this World Challenge. And I'm looking forward to seeing yourself as well as seems like all of DNA seems to still have their name in the hat here for a championship. But you're representing your own Phantom Power Racing. You and your team, you guys work closely this week. You mentioned about making maybe some setup adjustments or trying to practice with the car. How's the team come together for this finale?
Oh yeah, we have a awesome setup builder. His name's Joe Hutchings. Shout out to him. We're mostly focused on the upcoming Daytona 24 race, but yeah, Jake and I know he's using the Acura this season and I'm in the Porsche, but we still come together and take note on what we both find and trying to improve both of our cars, even though we're different, but we try to take notes off of each other and compare and contrast on what works.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely looking forward to that when we come back for another season, and we'll see which car you choose to be in. But tonight you get one more run here in the Porsche, so good luck. Any other parting comments before you jump in the cockpit?
I'd just like to shout out All-Star 15 TV for sponsoring the car, and hopefully it'll be a fun race for you guys to watch, and hopefully we have a pretty good finish. So thank you guys for broadcasting this, and can't wait to watch it after the race.
Well, let's hope for a good one. So good luck tonight. Dalton Fredericks, the number 20, be starting right there on row 2. So good luck tonight.
Thank you.
All right, there you go, Larry. Phantom Power Racing, and Dalton trying to work his way into a championship and unseat Ben Rose, who has led the championship from the start of the season. And it would be a tough battle there. Interesting that Dalton was talking about the changes in GTP and how everybody seems to be a lot faster. And then he says that he can't seem to find speed. So we'll
maybe not as much as some of the others, but it sounds like he's at least going to give it a go. And who knows?
I hear that new Ferrari is about 10 seconds faster than the real one, so maybe that would be the chassis. All right, Larry, let's take a look here. We've got our starting grid. I'll tell you what, why don't you take the prototype cars and I'll take the GT cars.
All right, so at the top of the order there is your championship leader in GTP from DNA Motorsports, Ben Rose, on the pole tonight. Alongside him, he's going to get some protection from his teammates. He's got a DNA Motorsports right alongside him there, and Jordan Butler. On the next row, it's another one of our championship contenders, Tanner Dibble, another DNA entry. So the front three, all from DNA. Then you get Dalton Fredericks from Phantom Power Racing there on outside of row 2. Row 3, it's another DNA entry, Ryan Reisman, alongside another Phantom Power Racing, Jake Zito. And on row 4, Jim Pfeiffer from Sector 5 Racing. And then on row 5, and I think he's actually going to be starting from the pits tonight, is Bobby Childs from D2D Sim Racing. But over in the LMP2s, at the top of the order, no surprise here, Josh Chinsky from SRT Esport leading the way on the pole there tonight. Alongside him will be his teammate, Dave Meneno, also SRT Esports. And just like the GTPs, it is a team lockout for all the front three. Caleb Lehman's going to take that inside of row 2 from SRT Esport. He's going to line up alongside Avon Dorsey from Rockefeller Racing. On row 3 in the LMP2s, another Rockefeller Racing entry, Charlie Hosea. And then we've got another SRT Esport from Kyle Strikers. And then finally on row 4, we've got Phantom Power Racing's Josh Vidal alongside Aaron Beaver from Rockefeller Racing.
All right, let's move over to our GT3 racers, where Bailey Petrowski, your championship leader coming into the final round, is your pole sitter for D2D Sim Racing. Taj Edwards from Orion Racing will start on his right. Then we've got Travis Schwenke and Leo Dragota, also from Orion Racing. They'll make up row number 2, with Zach Mosley from Mosley Motorsports and Mike Dam from Orion making up row number 3. Should mention Zach Mosley, although we don't track the GT4 Pro and GT4 AM championships separately here in the broadcast. Zach Mosley, currently your championship leader in GT3 AM. All right, then our next row, it is Robert Hartley from Orion with Brian Bennett. That will be row number 4. And then row number 5, starting 9th and 10th, Alex Brown from Eagle Beaver and Jennifer McDonald from BTL Motorsports. Then we've got Jeff Jacobs from the SCCA Foundation starting alongside David Steiner from Dominate Racing. Stacy Bertrand and Ilya Speaker, both from Rockefeller Marcelo Racing will start side by side. Then we've got David Klimovich and Lucas Dragotta. Klimovich from Slow Bros Racing, and then Lucas Dragotta. And we have a green flag, Larry, for our prototypes. And we'll get back to some of our GT3 field here momentarily. But jumping out to an early lead as they come across the start-finish line, dive down into turn one for the first time is Ben Rose with Tanner Dibble there. Second, Ricmotech and Butler side by side. And then Dalton Fredericks and Jake Zito fifth and sixth as our GT3 racer, or probably our GT.
Oh no!
We'll get that in a second.
That's Josh Vidal.
Yeah, I was going to say that was Vidal going around our LMP2 racers. Pardon me, getting the start as our GT3 racers now get the start as well. And it looks like that area has been cleared out. It is Chinsky and Meneno, your top two in LMP2 with Caleb Lieben and Avon Dorsey. And then Bailey Petrowski leads the Orion contingent down into the International Horseshoe for the first time with Taj Edwards, Travis Schwenke, Leo Dragotta running second, third, and fourth with Zach Mosley and Brian Bennett fifth and sixth.
GT3s are starting to sort themselves out a little bit, got a little bunchy there through the first horseshoe. But let's take a look at the replay here of the LMP2s going into the first turn. There's Josh Vidal, the 26 on the inside. That would be Kyle Strikers just behind him, but already in front of them was Jose in the 100 that had spun. So there's the cause of that. Definitely Jose. Let's get a replay just on Charlie now. He's the inside. Comes up that inside, gets a little bit of grass. I don't know if he actually got into his teammate Dorsey or if...
I don't think so, Larry. I think he just had the back end walk out on him a little bit.
Yeah.
Should also note that in GTP, starting on the pit lane was Bobby Child serving a penalty incurred at the last round back at Road America, and he has just now been released from the pit lane. So it was a pit lane start and having to start a full lap down from the rest of the field.
Well, this replay here, this is Jennifer McDonald in her BMW solo spin all by herself right there, entering back onto the main track oval. Manages to get going again without causing any further incident, but that's going to put her pretty far back as we catch back up to the leaders in GT3. And, of course, that is our own Bailey Petrowski there from D2D, and he's going to have, it looks like Taj Edwards still in that Corvette from Orion right behind him. They've got a whole slew of Orions now, trying to chase him down with Schwenke and Dragotta also up in there.
As we jump back to the oval, and this is the battle now for third with with Jordan Butler and Dalton Fredericks nose to tail as they go into the bus stop chicane and head, or is it the Le Mans chicane? And now head back out onto the oval. Good run through there for the Acura and Jordan Butler. And Butler, who started off on the front row, currently finds himself in third position.
Yeah, we'll see if this is where the Acura is able to stretch his legs a little bit that Dalton was talking about pre-race, and him and the Porsche feels maybe there's a bit of an advantage there. We'll keep up with that in a little bit as we switch back over to our LMP2 run. And here you've got Josh Chinsky and his teammate Dave Meneno trying to chase him down. Caleb Lehman, the other of the SRT Esports, there in the third spot. All three of them still pretty close nose to tail as they cross the start-finish stripe to start third lap.
Yeah, and Larry, it's been... you look at the point standings after 7 rounds, and it looks like it's been almost a walk in the park for Josh Chinsky. He's got 7 poles, he's got 6 wins, but the last couple of rounds have been very, very close with Chinsky, Meneno, and Lehman with the 3 SRT drivers here. It's been great racing to watch.
Yeah, and in fact, even in the races where Chinsky's managed to get the win, his teammates have definitely been challenging him, both Lehman and Meneno. And I expect the same thing here tonight, that it's not going to be easy. Chinsky may end up winning the championship at the end, but certainly those teammates are going to keep him honest and try and steal a win here in the final round of the season. We catch back up with our GT3 pack. Nothing's changed here since the green flag. Still that one D2D and a whole pack of Orions trying to chase him down.
Exactly. And as we watch here, and don't let your eyes deceive you, the 2 Corvettes and the McLaren, all 3 of them racing for Orion, as Leo Dragotta moved out of the Corvette, I think, after round 1.
He needs a little more blue on that livery there. Just the white with the black isn't enough to full Orion identify, but It seems that Leo seems to like the McLaren. We'll see if he likes it enough to try and move his Corvette teammates out of the way here and make a run at the McLaren of Petrowski up in front.
And interesting, Larry, I was looking at the side of Dragota's car, and I don't remember if it has the Huffy bicycle sponsorship listed on the side, because of course,
he's got it.
Yeah, he does have it. Okay, good, because Dragota's the only one who actually still needs a Huffy on that team.
That's a great long way to go for the reference, and I fully applaud it.
Thank you. I mean, I've only had seven weeks to decide whether or not I should use that or not. Yeah, there it is. It's all along the side of the car.
It is.
It's like a big banana seat too.
Leo's having a pretty good run here, just sticking behind his teammate Travis Schwenke in the Corvette. They do need to close up a little bit on the DTD of Bailey Petrowski in the lead if they really want to pressure Bailey to use his fuel and to really set his pace strong and to use up his tires. Right now, by giving him these extra car lengths, I don't know that they're really pressuring him to do anything with that car right now to use it up.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that the three of them would be able to, even though there isn't a very predominant draft with these GT3 cars on the iRacing platform. You'd think that on the tri-oval they would still make up a little ground, and it doesn't appear as though they do. And Larry, it's interesting that you should mention whether or not they're trying to maybe pressure Petrowski a little bit. When I talked about strategizing here this evening, really for all three of our classes, fuel management I think is going to be key, maybe even more so than it normally is, because the pit windows for all three of these classes we anticipate to be almost halfway through the race. And so and a matter of fact, the windows from what we saw in testing earlier for the LMP2 cars as well as the GTP cars might be a lap to 2 laps shorter than halfway. So we're gonna have to see who can save
fuel management to be done tonight for sure.
Yeah, because it's either a splash and go at the end to get to the checker, or it's it's lift and coast and save fuel so that you'd have just enough to make it across the line in one stop.
And if you have to lift and coast in the first half of the race, a good chance you can do it in the second half of the race too. That's a strategy that takes all night to execute. That's not something you can just do twice or 3 times, say, I'm good to go. Very likely you're going to need a lot of that. So I think that's where it's critical in the GT3 ranks for Edwards, Schwenke, and Dragota to really pressure Petrowski to force his pace, to force him on his tires, force him on the fuel load. Otherwise, it gives Bailey a chance to lift and coast into the corners and save just as much fuel as anybody that might be drafting behind. So very important there. Now take a look at the rest of this group. There's a nice pack here developing. Brian Bennett, Mike Dam, Rob Hartley chasing down Zach Mosley in that Mustang. That's a pretty tight group right there. And I think I even see Alex Brown in one of our Eagle Beavers in that Mustang right at the tail end of this group.
Yeah, indeed. And so I did mention here as we watch the leader of this pack, and that is Zach Mosley in the Mosley Motorsports Mustang. I think currently second in that AM championship is Keith Stein. And so Keith is, I think right now, I'm looking to see how much further down the field he is. He's sitting all the way back in 13th position overall. So going to be a tough run for him. I think only 2 points separating he and Mosley. And look at this, Larry. We're only now 6 laps into the race and over 3.5 miles. We've got the GTP cars starting to work their way through GT3 traffic.
Yeah, well, it's about 15 seconds a lap delta between a GTP and a GT3. In between, of course, our LMP2s there, well, about split the difference there. They're about 7 seconds or so slower than our GTPs. So, yeah, this is right on cue. 6 laps in for our GTPs to be motoring by. And look at them just driving by these GT3s like they're sitting still.
As they come up and you see Tanner Dibble pass that pack that we were just watching a few moments ago, led by Zach Mosley, coming up on our leaders now in GT3. Dragota, Schwenke, Edwards, and Petrowski. That's
a precarious place to try and go by. Is that turn one's always a tough corner anyway, no matter whether you're by yourself. Suddenly you get a pack of different speeds. Very difficult. It's an aggressive move there for Dibble to go down the inside of the leaders there at GT3, but manages to get through. Ben Rose trying to clear any gap to his teammate that he can there between these two. Dibble showing that the Porsche pace is pretty good right now, keeping up with Ben Rose at this early stage.
Yeah, matter of fact, it looked like coming through the Western Horseshoe there, where Dibble, the rear end seemed to squat down nice, and he got a good drive out of there, where it appears that Ben Rose maybe having a little trouble getting the power down. So we'll have to see how that plays out as the weights come down, as the tires wear down as well over the course of this 75-minute race.
And there's, of course, Bobby Childs, who had started this race with a few penalties to serve, so he just started from pit lane. There he is now, actually working his way through the GT3 field, because he actually started essentially a lap down from them, I think.
Yeah, indeed. He had to wait until the entire field had completed one lap, so he is now working lap number 6, while the rest of the GTP field working lap number 7. And Bobby's got a number of GT3 cars that he has to work through, and I think it's going to be very difficult, I think, Larry, to unlap himself with these other GTP racers with the pace that they're keeping up.
It may, but we've seen attrition. We've definitely seen attrition in some of these races in the past, so things could happen, and Bobby just going to keep his luck alive, but just trying to be safe and be clean.
All right, and on the pit lane now, Larry. From a land down under, Philip Caffrey in his
that's
McLaren.
a bit wide. That's a bit wide. That's a bit of a different angle. That is a hard hit right there for Caffrey. All set up with that kink getting into the grass there. Never really quite contained it. Ouch.
Almost like a boomerang coming right about across the track there.
Right there, down under.
All right, as we jump back to 2 of our 3 leaders, all from SRT, in the LMP2 battle here. Josh Chinsky now has started to separate himself out. He's got about 2.5 seconds on the battle we're watching right now, Caleb Lehman and Dave Meneno.
Yeah, these two have been battling pretty much since the start of this race. Chinsky's managed to pull away just a little bit, but these two SRT teammates are locked in. In fact, look at that, a little bit of different breaking point there. Almost caught Meneno off guard a little there as the trailing car.
As they head back out onto the tri-oval.
I do love that car. It is my personal favorite. I run it a lot in my own private leagues. I think it's just a great platform, easy to drive, ton of fun, and you can see the racing is just spectacular as these guys are showing.
Now, of course, I made the mention of the new Ferrari hypercar, LMDH, GTP car that debuted on the service and maybe a little bit faster than it is in real life. Now, I know the LMP2 cars is part of the latest update from iracing that was distributed on Tuesday morning. The LMP2 cars seem to have lost a little bit of outright pace. There were some changes to the tire model, but how do they drive, Larry? Any major difference?
I just happened to try it yesterday, both dry as well as wet. We did a race at Sebring. Didn't really notice a ton of difference. The car had a traditional sort of managed understeer you've got to work with. It seemed to suffer just in straight line speed. We were just using a fixed setup, nothing different for what we do, but it definitely seemed to be a little bit lower down on straight line speed. So that maybe is something they've done to these cars, kind of limit a little bit of the power, a little increase in the drag of them. Which, of course, in a series like this, LMP2s, they are the only chassis available there in that Dallara P217, so there really isn't any option. Everyone's hit by the same adjustment to those cars. It's not like we're seeing in GTPs where perhaps the Cadillacs or the Acuras are now a little more different than the Porsches or the BMWs. In that, we don't have that in the LMP2s. It's all just that one make chassis. Yeah.
All right, as we watch again, this is Zach Mosley and Brian Bennett, and I guess the big surprise here is that Bennett and Mosley getting around Mike Dam and Robert Hartley on the start of tonight's race, as 2 of the 5 Orion racers sitting back a little bit further back than perhaps they expected here early on, although right now you see Mike Dam really starting to pressure Brian Bennett's Porsche as we jump up ahead, and this is the battle right now for third with Leo Dragota in the Orion McLaren, with his teammate Travis Schwenke driving the Corvette chassis. And you'll notice here, Larry, that Taj Edwards, who had an amazing run at Sebring back for round number 6, and didn't do so poorly at Road America either. He has now managed to separate himself out from both Schwenke and Dragota, and not making up any real ground at this point on Petrowski. But Petrowski, with only about a half second, certainly isn't getting away.
That's a good manageable gap there on both sides. That's if you're Taj Edwards, you want to be within that half a second. It allows you to maybe do your own lift and coast if you're trying to save some fuel, and also it does mean you're putting more pressure on Petrowski. He can't miss any marks. He can't, for example, get a bad shift coming out of the bus stop or something like that. He really has to stay on his pace, and so I think that's what Taj is doing right now, is kind of keeping Bailey honest. As we flash back over to our GTPs, and look at this, 1, 2, 3 right in a row with these DNA entries. It is still Rose, but Dibble and Butler are certainly keeping him in check.
Yeah, and of course, as we mentioned, going into the evening, Ben Rose does not have this championship locked up, but I'm sure Dalton Fredericks, who is not part of that shot and is sitting about 4.5 seconds back, he certainly wants to join this fight. As Larry, we now have a new leader in GT3.
Well,
as Taja Edwards gets around Bailey Petrowski. Let's take a look.
All right. Well, I was saying, Taj was close enough to keep Bailey honest, and I wondered if Bailey got himself a slowdown at the bus stop. I was even using the bus stop as an example of where he's got to stay honest, and that just might have been it, and enough for Edwards to go on by.
That's got to be it, Larry, as he went high and probably tried to burn off a little bit of time on that slowdown penalty by just using up more distance.
Well, now Bailey's going to do the same thing to Edwards that Edwards just did to him, keep him honest. What this has done is it's brought a little bit of the battle behind Schwenke and Dragota now a little bit closer with all that going on. Perhaps it's a 4-way battle for the lead again. See if Taj holds up Bailey a little bit to force the issue and bring 2 more of his teammates into this game.
Well, let's see as they come out of the infield for the next time. Now as our GT3 racers working lap number 10. And we expect this race for the GT3 cars probably to go 44 laps, so not quite a quarter of the way through as they now head into the bus stop chicane, and looks as though the Corvette,
Petrowski.
Yeah, the Corvette handled it quite well, but Petrowski got a great run out of there.
The run from Petrowski, as you watched him, he went very shallow between the 2 right-hand apexes there. Really gave him a great run on the exit, and I think the McLaren's got good exit speed. The Corvette, though, seems to be matching his pace all the way down the front straight, and they're giving him a double-wide draft to Schwenke behind. He's got to be loving this.
Yeah, and you see where Schwenke basically just set himself up right in the middle of the 2 until they had to come under braking going into turn 1.
And Petrowski's going to get the spot back.
Yeah, nice outside move through 1 and 2.
Yeah, he really did. Held that line out there, held that all the way in, and it's a good, clean line if you can stay on the outside. It's tough to make that turn 1, having to take off all that speed and stay tight. So good run there for Petrowski there. Let's flash to our GTPs now, as we also may have a new leader here.
Indeed we do. Tanner Dibble in the 963 Porsche. He goes to the lead, Larry, going down into turn 1. It looked like almost a redo of what we saw in GT3 as they came down side by side into turn 1. And there you go. So Dibble, now you're a leader. Jordan Butler slots into, well, he didn't slot into third. That's where he's been. And then Dalton Fredericks now dropping almost almost 3 seconds, almost 4 seconds back.
Tanner Dibble only came into tonight 14 points down from his teammates. So while Dalton Fredericks came into tonight second, Tanner Dibble was only in third, just 2 further points back. So there's really a good chance here for Dibble. He might need a little help to push Rose down the order, but this is where it starts for him.
Yeah, but there's a good opportunity for him to possibly move up into second place in the championship. So we'll see here.
Yeah.
Oh, taking a little bit of a shortcut through the.
It's gonna be a course cut.
Was that Stein?
Yeah.
I think it was. Yeah, Keith Stein from Rockefeller Racing.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Dibble. He's going to have to burn that penalty off. You can see him staying high to do it. He may try and do it through turn 1 because you get about 30 seconds to kill that penalty. So he's going to do a little bit of it, but he's going to try and hold off some of the teammates. It might be Rose in third that stays behind him. Yeah, just to hold the position. Let's see if it was enough to burn the penalty. He does have traffic in front of him. That's going to help any penalty burn. It's probably already done by now. Look at this traffic through the horseshoes. Oh, this is intense. Are we sure this is lap 14, not lap 45 or whatever we're going to end up with?
Oh my, as they come through the Western Horseshoe now.
Oh, this is really tight. Because you got your LMPs right in the middle of all of them, and they're not slow either. Does that look like, was that Dorsey and Strikers and the Hosea?
I think that's exactly what it is. And look at this as we watch Ben Rose in the number 5 Acura, Larry. He just has nowhere to go as they came out of the horseshoe.
He's trying to hold off Dalton Fredericks, his rival, now right behind him. Look at that. Fredericks has closed in on this front battle, and Fredericks going to try to make a move going into the bus stop, or at least force the line a little off for Rose. Let's see if they go in side by side. Look at Fredericks backs a little bit.
Yeah, he backed out. I think he realized that Rose wasn't going to take that shallow of an entry.
But he's going to get a run. Stop. Look at the run by the Porsche. Even with some traffic here, he's going to try that outside line that we saw Bailey Petrowski in the GT3 use going into 1. If he can stay out there, he get a better braking zone. Maybe he can make this pass for third. This is the battle.
Look at this, Larry. As he comes high, Ben Rose gets balked as he comes up on the back of one of the Orion Corvettes and just had nowhere to go except down to the apron. And now Fredericks is going to get stuck.
He is. Going to get stuck here right in this battle of Mosley and Mike Dam and these others. Fredericks, though, aggressiveness is paying off for the moment. There's the leaders in GT3 right there. They're not going to yield easily. Yep. All right, so there's Swanky and Edwards. Petrowski's around the corner there, and of course the leaders in GTP are right up in front of them now. This is intense.
All right, let's take a look, Larry, and
watch
as Rose is going to come up right onto the back of the Corvette here as they come down.
And Rose just had nowhere to go. He couldn't go right. You watch him. That's actually this is still the bus stop.
This is through the bus stop. It's coming though, Larry.
Yeah. So you see the run here for Fredericks. He's going to look to the high side. They got to get around, of course, whatever Eagle Beaver entry is there. But now they're going to come up side by side, and all of a sudden there is a Mike Dam Corvette in the middle of the track. Nowhere for Ben Rose to go.
Right there.
It's actually Robert Hartley. Hartley tries to stay out of the way, and Rose says, okay, I'll go left. That's great stuff.
And by going left, Larry, it actually set him up in better position coming down to the turn 1, because then Fredericks had to deal with 2 drivers staying drivers right to try and get out of their way.
Well, here they are again. So we're back to live now as they come in again through turn 1. Fredericks going to take that wide line there. Just goes around one of our LMP2 battles. That looks like the battle for second there between Lehman and Meneno.
So, Larry, we had somebody in the chat, LOA Family Pigeons, asking if it's if the drivers can change fuel maps in the cars, and I would assume, actually, I guess this actually applies to probably all three chassis, correct?
Yeah, it's open setup. So these drivers are allowed to use any setup that they want. I assume that includes any ignition maps that they choose. So at this point, though, I don't know that the different fuel maps do a lot for fuel economy. I think technique for lift and coast has a bigger impact on the ability to save fuel. But they are allowed to do anything they want. Full open setup for these guys.
Somebody's getting twitchy on the wall there, Larry.
I bet.
A lot of air displacement around that camera. And it looks like Mike Dam has gotten around Brian Bennett. So move Bennett now in the 161 Porsche back to 7th in GT3 as we jump a little further forward. And this is once again Travis Schwenke and Leo Dragota.
Dragota showing a lot of patience tonight to just sit in the draft. That tells me he's trying to save a ton of fuel.
Yes.
And he's got a strategy to this, because I would think, given the pace of things, he might feel like he can chase Bailey Petrowski down. Maybe playing that game of let's just keep it close and save fuel, see how the second half goes.
Well, I'm sure he's got that rounded Sebring in the back of his head also, where he had the pit in for fuel with 1 lap remaining in the race, as he wasn't able to save the same amount as some of the other drivers around him, notably Travis Schwenke, who I think came away with the win and ran out of fuel on the cooldown lap.
Well, there's Jennifer McDonald making her way around. That was
John Casey. No, that's not John Casey. Obviously not a Corvette.
That is the 52 of Stacy Bertrand, actually,
Bertrand.
the Mustang. Yeah. And then right behind Jeff Jacobs there in that Corvette.
And of course, Jennifer on a bit of a recovery drive after that lap 1 spin on cold tires. As we jump back to 2 of the trio from SRT, Caleb Lehman and Dave Meneno, as they go now side by side here on lap number 17, coming into turn 1.
Yep, Meneno gets the draft there. Lehman lets him tuck underneath, saying, your turn to take the lead for a little bit, and I'll chase you down. There's definitely a game of cat and mouse going on here with these two teammates.
And is that Jake Zito coming up on them right now?
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah. I think we've got Jake Zito right behind, and then back from there, Ryan Reisman in the 414 Cadillac as they're trying to make their way through this LMP2 traffic. As we now jump to Zach Mosley and Mike Dam going side by side through the west. Is this the Western Horseshoe?
The Mustang's able to get the power down a little bit better with that outside line there. I thought for a second Brian Bennett was going to try and follow Mike Dam down the inside. Not able to. He's going to sit back and watch that Mustang, though. Good grunt. Great job of getting the power down coming out of the Horseshoe.
Yeah, that's the Western Horseshoe. Move was attempted over at the International Horseshoe as they now make their way back out onto the Triangle. But a good defense there from Zach Mosley. Continues to keep that Mustang in 5th position. Now, of course, they've lost a lot of ground to the top 4 drivers, but again, Mosley, he's looking to hold on to that GT3 AM points lead. Should mention, Larry, that tonight's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
Flashback to the top of the leaderboard there. There he is, Tanner Devil leading Jordan Butler right now. The 2 DNA entries are top of the order. Dalton Fredericks III, Ben Rose now has been shuffled all the way down to 4th. A couple seconds back from Dalton Fredericks. So your championship leader right now down at 4th. This is right where Tanner Dibble needs him to be, even further to help Tanner's championship fight. Fredericks, though, probably needs to get back up into the chance for a win here if he wants to have a chance at a championship. Look at the speed through that bus stop.
Wow.
Holy cow.
Oh,
no.
And Larry, here's a big development is Taj Edwards, who'd been running 2nd and at one point had been leading GT3, has an issue coming through turn 1, spins the car, and he now falls back to, looks like 11th position. Let's take a look.
That's Hartley up in front there. Here we go. There's Taj going into turn 1. And he's just looped it under braking. Maybe just the brake bias, little adjustment needs to be made for him, and he has to wait it out. Look at the traffic going around him. Oh, and he gets right in front of the Eagle Beaver Mustangs there. There was slight contact. Well, it might have been Alex Brown. Hopefully no damage there for Brown.
Yeah, that was just a tough position for him to be in.
Yeah.
to get that car spun around. But yeah, Larry, you could see as he was coming through turn one,
Yeah.
maybe didn't take it as wide as he had taken it on previous laps in the rear end.
Such a
Just
tough
did
corner.
not like the slip angle.
Such a tough corner to take off from 160 miles an hour down to about 40 mile an hour apex speed there for these GT3s. Very difficult to keep the car under control and transfer all that weight. I think that may have caught Taj here 18 laps in.
So that now is going to move Travis Schwenke up into second, but Larry, that also now gives Bailey Petrowski almost a 5-second advantage on the rest of the GT3 field, and that gives him many more options as far as fuel savings goes, Larry, as we were talking about how things might get very sketchy here for our racers, having to really watch the fuel as we see the lights starting to come on our GT3 field as this race started right around right before sunset. So it's gonna start getting a little dark here for us.
Yeah, you like when we do that, time these races so that the lights all have to come on, and we'll even possibly get some fireworks at the end of this thing tonight. But hopefully we don't see any fireworks until we hit that 75th minute. We don't need to see any early. Certainly if you're Bailey Petrowski, you don't need to see any premature fireworks. You'd like to just be calm and cool for the next, let's say 45 minutes or so.
45 minutes or so, yeah, exactly. All right, Larry, let's take a quick look real quick at what we have coming up on the schedule. Of course, tonight as we watch now, this is, well, you know, let's hold off for a second here as we're watching this battle for the lead in GTP with Tanner Dibble and Jordan Butler. Now, as they're going to have to make their way on the tri-oval, and good run out of the infield there for Tanner Dibble as he managed to stretch about 0.3 of a second. The number 72 Acura starts to close things down though as they come into the bus stop chicane. Ooh.
Yeah. So much speed he's carrying through there. He's just on that knife's edge all the way through. But I tell you what, he's got a really good setup there on that Porsche that just roars through, it seems, every time without even so much as a twitch for Tanner Dibble. He's got it really well set up to handle the speed in that chicane and those little bit of bumps on the entry and exit. So much speed through turn one, still carrying about a 85 mile an hour min speed for these GTPs.
Yeah, just absolutely astounding. And in the process, he opened up at maybe an extra 0.4 of a second on Jordan Butler on that last lap. And so we'll see here if things start to accordion down a little bit as they come up on some GT3 traffic.
And Brian Bennett in the background there, and the Porsche GT3 had himself a little bit of trouble, but manages to gather it together there. He went around the kink there, caught a little bit of grass, went wide, but maybe caught out a little bit with some of the traffic going by him. And we watch these Dibble again. The car handles the chicane well, but I'm not sure he puts the power down as well as perhaps the Acura behind him. Coming out of the slower corners, at least.
As we look at Meneno and Lehman once again. Meneno in the orange 199. Lehman in the Dayglow green number 819. And all the while, Josh Chinsky, their SRT Esport teammate now, almost 5.5 seconds up the road. So, Larry, as I was saying, let's quickly take a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule in the next couple of weeks. This, of course, being the Season 11 championship. And we're going to take a little bit of time off for the holidays, but make sure to join us on January 6th when we start up season number 8 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Mini Mite Sports Car Challenge. That is for our LMP3 and GT4 racers. And that will be a 60-minute race as we're going back to single 60-minute events for that series. And then just 1 week later, January 13th, season number 12, the next season of the Ricmotech World Challenge restarts. And for those of you that are interested in signing up, I saw somebody in Apex's Discord say that perhaps the World Challenge, all the entries have already been taken, but if you go to xmsracing.com/road, you can perhaps find yourself on the grid of one of these two leagues.
We have action on the track as our leader, Bailey Petrowski, had the 5-second lead going into turn 1 on the previous lap. He spun, brings him right in the middle of this grouping. Let's see how it happened as we see Petrowski there just letting those GTPs going on by, flash the lights at him, saying you guys are all good, and spins all.
Either that or he was saying, watch me now. And so, Larry, when I said that 5-second lead opened up some options for Petrowski, I didn't expect that to be one of them.
No, but here he is. And then it looks like, is that Mike Dam getting a slowdown in the bus stop? That's not going to help Dam's cause at all. Mosley and Hartley now are going to try and catch a little bit of draft behind Petrowski. But this now is all the battle for third as Travis Schwenke is your new leader in this race. And there he is as Mike Dam goes into the pits.
And Mike Dam, coming down the pit lane, Larry, here on lap number 20. And, we thought that the pit window for the GT3 cars might extend as much as 22 laps or so. So it's awfully close. We'll have to see how things play out for that machine, for that driver towards the end of this race. As
well, this is Lucas Strigota right ahead of Ilya Speaker, and of course they got Chippo Pfeiffer trying to roll on by there in that 00 GTP car.
And Larry, we're likely going to see another of the Orion Corvettes come down the pit lane soon enough, because it appears that Taj Edwards has received a drive-through penalty for rolling into traffic as he was trying to recover from that spin over at turn 2.
The rollback we saw into in Alex Brown,
yeah. So we'll see if that is indeed the case. But we're right up at the top of the hour, Larry. So why don't we do this? Why don't we take a quick break? We'll be back in just a few moments here with more action from Daytona International Speedway. You're watching the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back to Daytona International Speedway, everybody. It is round number 8. season number 11 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, presented by the SCCA Foundation and Buttkicker. And we are now watching our GTP leader come down the pit lane. That is Jordan Butler, Larry, and he comes in for service a full lap after almost the entire rest of the GTP field.
Yeah, that's fascinating. We had a lot of pits happening there while we were at the break. The entire LMP2 field, with the exception of Caleb Lehman, who's now in the pits. And then, of course, as you say, all the GTPs, the exception of Jordan Butler, who's now in the pits, as well as Ben Rose, I think should close the books on all the prototype pit stops.
Yeah, but Larry, there's something going on with Ben Rose, as Ben Rose has now been in his pit stall for 1:40.
That's not good for our championship leader.
Yeah, exactly. There's something going on there, whereas most of the other racers' pit stop was about 37, 38 seconds. And there you go. And you see there as Jordan Butler goes on by and goes to rejoin the fray. And Ben Rose, our championship leader, still on the pit lane.
This is going to make things interesting. Now he's finally moving. That's huge. Going to put him way down the order. Now, if you're Dalton Fredericks or Chandler Dibble, you've got to be liking that, because you needed that kind of an opportunity. And, of course, for Dibble, currently sitting in second, Dalton Fredericks currently in third. One of those guys would like to win this race, have a chance at this championship.
All right, and now, Larry, we've got our GT3 leaders coming in. Travis Schwenke, Leo Dragota, Brian Bennett coming in as well, and we've got some of the drivers who are a little bit further back in the pack, like Jeff Jacobs and Ilya Speaker, Taj Edwards, who had that spin just a few laps ago, coming down the pit lane as well. We saw Bailey Petrowski, Robert Hartley, Zach Mosley come down the pit lane just as we were finishing our commercial, and look at that
the drag race there between Dragota and teammate Schwenke. Remember, there are teammates coming out of there. It looked like for a minute Dragota had the nose ahead, but on the outside he did have to back off. That's interesting. Now we'll see how much aggressiveness, because that is for the lead. Those guys are 3 seconds ahead of teammate Mike Dam, was in third. Petrowski just behind him, your former leader in this thing. But that little side-by-side between Schwenke and Dragota, that was for the lead that they weren't backing down from. Wow. Teammates. I love it.
Mike Dam, now with that pit stop cycle, we were a little surprised that he came in much earlier than everybody else. He now finds himself in third position, albeit about a little bit less than 3 seconds back. But he is in a pretty good position for a podium, as we stand as Bailey Petrowski, another second and a half back from there.
A good position for Dan. When we had cut away from him, he had just gone to the bus stop, we believe, at a course cut, and serving that, and he dove into the pits anyway. That may have actually kind of helped him. As long as you've lost your momentum, given up the course cut penalty, you may as well take time into the pits anyway. It might have been the best call he could make. He's got himself a second or so ahead of Bailey Petrowski in this thing right now for that third spot. So huge development there. Again, Petrowski comes in as the championship leader, but there's a lot of other positions up for grabs here tonight.
As we watch this fight now. And now you're starting to see, Larry, the effects of the draft as the McLaren comes up right underneath the wing of the Orion Corvette, as they complete another lap and head down into turn one, working lap number 25 for the GT3 cars.
Now, going back to our championship standings, I mentioned Bailey Petrowski comes into tonight in the lead in GT3. Brian Bennett, actually in the Porsche, came into tonight in the second spot. He's about 56 points back. May or may not have a chance at the championship, but I'm sure he'd like to hold on to that second place. But behind him, about 20 points back, is Travis Schwenke. Travis wants that second place in the championship, I'm sure, even if it means holding teammate off behind him to do it. So that's right now where Travis is. If he can win this thing, maybe there's an outside chance to win this second place overall in this championship. So we've got a sighting of a Klimovich, and there was much rejoicing.
And the crowd, and I mean crowd, they go wild.
Hey, big crowd. Nothing like a Porsche at Daytona. It's just sort of the right combination. So I fully support Klimovich's effort here to try and get by this Corvette. Look at the defensive line, though, for Jeff Jacobs.
right, let's just jump back to that battle for the lead in GT3. I think currently certainly the closest fight for the lead that we've got at just about a tenth of a second. Dragotta taking a little look down low as they come into turn one. And look at their line there through the International Horseshoe, Larry, as you can see where Schwenke needs to take a very wide set, a very late apex coming into that corner, and Dragotta just rides the apex curbing through almost 3/4 of that corner.
Yeah.
It's just, the car just has excellent rotation that the Corvette just doesn't seem to have, or, perhaps we also see Schwenke trying to ensure that he has tires at the end of the race.
He may be, as Bobby Childs ducks between them there as they get back onto the oval. But I think you may be right. Dragotta just trying to cut all the distance he can out of all these horseshoe hairpins. And that may just be the line he chooses to take. Just use all that curbing along the apex and just cut out every inch of distance if you can.
And Larry, each driver's championship point earned during this season will count as an entry into a drawing after the finale here at Daytona, where the winner will be presented with a Buttkicker Gamer Plus package valued at $279.95. To turn up the immersion in your sim rig, visit thebuttkicker.com. Petrowski trying to work his way back up into a podium position. He just, since we came back from break, Larry, has made up about 1.5 seconds on Mike Dam.
Yeah. Well, there you go. There it is. The pass he might just have made stick to the International Horseshoe. And it's Brian Bennett. I mentioned Bennett, second of the championship. He's right behind this battle, currently 5th in class. Another key figure there is Dalton Frederick in the number 20 in that GTP, was also going right through that little crowd. As we can see him right here, we go on board with Brian Bennett. As you can see Frederick now finally making his way through the crowd off in the distance there. As Josh Chinsky, our leader in LMP2, just went by on the right of this. A lot of action around Brian Bennett right now. Was that Butler that just went by?
Weaving in and out and in and out. Yes, I think that was. I'm fairly certain that was.
It might have been Fredericks. It might have been. No, it wasn't Fredericks. Not sure which one that was. It was one of the other, I think, DNA entries. Might have even been Ben Rose, actually. Yeah, I think actually it was Ben Rose, who currently is 2 laps down from Jordan Butler, overall race leader. So for Rose,
that long pit stop, somewhat disastrous. Yeah, we'll have to.
Yeah, my clock says he was in there for more than 2 minutes.
Two minutes, 5 seconds.
Another one I was going to check in with. Oh, and there's a big slide for Petrowski again.
Petrowski running wide, and he's going to have Bennett slide in, come underneath him, take the position. Mike Dam getting by as well. Should also mention here, Larry, Brian Bennett in the 161 Porsche gets around Mike Dam, gets around Robert Hartley, and gets around Bailey Petrowski as well with that miscue.
That's huge for Brian Bennett. He wants to get that second place championship clinched. He knows that Schwenke's the only one that can take it from him, so that's a big deal there for Bennett. But now we've seen a couple of times tonight for Bailey Petrowski, our championship leader, into turn 1 by himself. Those self-induced errors there. That's huge.
All right, we should get a replay here. We'll see exactly what happened to our former race leader.
So he's right in front of Mike Dam, and is there contact?
There is contact.
Is. Oh no, Mike Dam inducing a little contact into one. Brian Bennett, the beneficiary of that, but the stewards may take a look at that.
I would be very surprised if they did not, Larry. So very unfortunate there for both. Now Petrowski back ahead of Mike Dam, but you know the damage I think has been done.
Yeah.
Petrowski probably seeing double as he comes up onto the back. Of
Another one of these
Hartley's,
Orion Corvettes.
Yeah, another Orion Corvette for you.
Hartley's just gonna actually give and concede the spot there to Petrowski. But yeah, great opportunity there for Brian Bennett, who now finds himself 3 seconds back from the other two Orion cars. Travis Schwenke, the race leader, and Leo Dragota currently in second. As we check back in with some of our battles going on, that's Avon Dorsey, I think.
Yeah, Avon Dorsey now, Larry, running in third position. We've got the
strikers there.
The Rockefeller Racing car, exactly. That is the battle for third, and I think one of the big stories here is that Dave Meneno thought perhaps was having some connectivity issues. He, of course, was part of that fight early on with SRT teammate Caleb Lehman.
And it looks
Meneno
like
now,
I think he's disconnected from the session. I think he's done for the night. It's unfortunate because he was really having a great scrap with his teammate Caleb Lehman for the second and third spots. Now this third place spot is open between these guys. Striker seems to be the quicker of the three through that infield section, dealing with some of that traffic. Well, Dorsey can stick with him. As I believe that might have been Pfeiffer. Yeah, there he goes in the Porsche GTP car. Just making his way on by down the back straight of the oval.
And most important for Avon Dorsey, his Rockefeller teammate Charlie Hosea is almost 15 seconds back.
A little reference to some scraps those two may have had in an earlier race on. Or two or three.
Or three.
Several times the Rockefeller team would do a little bit of rocking.
And I think in the case of Dorsey, it was a little rolling as well here.
As they make their way on past David Steiner there, the Australian in the McLaren. Keep an eye on this battle. This is definitely the best battle on the track right now, other than our GT3 leaders that haven't changed positions really. Their best battle is coming out of the pits, but these two, not teammates. This is for a potential podium position here. Look at the standings coming into tonight for Strikers
I was
for Dorsey.
Just going there.
Strikers came into tonight in 8th, Dorsey in 6th. And look at Dorsey there with the move. Got one of our GTPs right there behind him. That might be Reisman.
Yeah, judging by the headlights, I think that was the 414 Cadillac. Yes, they came in, as you mentioned, Kyle Stryker sitting 8th in the championship with 219 points. And just ahead of him on track, Avon Dorsey, 6th in the championship with 274. So good delta between them here in the championship, but still very, very closely matched.
The other one in the championship standings that came into the night between them, I guess, was Charlie Hosea, of course, Avon Dorsey's teammate. Hosea currently running...
He's running 6th at the moment, sitting, I think, at the tail end of the car is still running a lap down. Not a lap down. Yeah. He's a good distance back from the rest of the field on track, but now on the lead lap. Working lap 33.
All right, well, this is the other battle on track that means something. This is Travis Schwenke, Leo Dragota battling for the lead in GT3, just about 3 seconds ahead of Brian Bennett for third. I think Dragota's being calculated here, does not want to give up any ground to Bennett and make this thing a 3 or 4 or 5-way race, because you look down that order, it's just tight all the way down to Mike Dam in 6th. So Bennett can close the gap. So can Petrowski, Hartley, and Dam.
And
so
Dam.
20 minutes to go in this thing. I would say it's far from over if you're Travis Schwenke and Leo Dragota.
Yeah, they've got about a 2.5-second buffer now on the other three racers, but I think as we've seen, that could, if they do start going in the corners side by side, Larry, could evaporate very, very quickly.
Oh, this is some tight stuff into the bus stop here in the middle of this traffic. Strikers and Dorsey right in the middle of this train. That's Rob Hartley in front of them. That was, I think, Mike Dam right behind them.
And very opportunistic attempt there from Strikers. Just could not get underneath Avon Dorsey, who really defended very well, taking a shallow entry.
They're going to maybe split or get awfully close to a Bailey Petrowski up here.
And Bailey moves to the center of the track, then goes for the high line.
Yep, there he goes. And just about came down right on in front of him.
Almost came down right on the rear of Avon Dorsey's Delara.
Now they got Brian Bennett to race around. Bennett's not going to want to yield anything. He's been in these positions before, and he doesn't like them. I don't think I would either.
No. A pinball? Yeah. Sorry, that's Jonathan and me having a conversation, which I realized nobody can hear him. You're welcome.
You go back in hiding now. Oh. He's a All right, so this battle's still pretty strong here. Strikers and Dorsey. Every time it seems they come up on traffic, it tends to force a change of position. And look at that, right on cue, more traffic. That's the lead in GT3. Strikers.
Yeah, and Larry, when they came down into the bus stop, I don't think Strikers anticipated how much Avon Dorsey just ahead of him was going to have to check up for the two GT3 cars ahead, as Strikers almost got into the diffuser of the 44.
Almost, but managed to hang on to it. Gonna have some pretty good speed here with some draft going into turn one. I don't know if he's gonna do much with it, or maybe side by side. Oh, he just about missed his braking point.
Yeah, he ended up having to go so wide there as he ran a little bit too deep, just too much pavement to cover there.
It is tough. I don't believe these cars have an ABS. It's really tough to take that kind of speed off, especially when the downforce leaves you. You got to make sure you bleed it all before you start that turn in. So they'll resume their battle here in a second. I don't think Kyle's going to back off too far. Meanwhile, GT3 is tensing up. We are within the last 15 minutes of this thing now. Just about there. About 17 minutes to go. Petrowski catching up to the back of Bennett. Petrowski getting annoyed by prototypes.
Can't really tell, Larry, because he's been flashing his headlights at almost every single car within about 40 yards of him.
Well, he's gotten it down to about 2.8 seconds now behind Bennett. He needs to get that down to about 1.8. Now there's what Hartley's doing to Petrowski. There's Petrowski to Bennett. He had a couple laps there. He was chipping away. He's going to need to do a little bit more than that. Bennett doesn't seem to be able to make up any ground now in the group in front of them. Petrowski, though, definitely closing in on Bennett. But these two have done a very good job to work together to this point.
And Aaron Beaver sneaks underneath them.
Yeah, so they wanted to make sure Aaron got through there before they got deep into the brakes into turn one. All right, well, Petrowski and Hartley now have caught Bennett, and I'm wondering how aggressive Petrowski is going to be in this position. There he is. So it might be Rose going on by them right here. GTP car.
Yeah, that was the 5 car, and Rose currently sitting 7th.
Yeah, that could have championship
GTP
implications.
after leading, yeah.
Especially with, although Dibble and Frederick are the nearest rivals, and neither one of them are leading this thing. This is Jordan Butler right now in the Acura. Has that advantage. There goes Dalton Frederick right now, actually, the 3rd place runner, going past our leaders here in GT3.
All right, we've got 15 minutes remaining on the clock here at Daytona International Speedway. It is the season finale, season number 11, with our next season scheduled to start Monday night, January 13th. If you want to find out more information about joining either the World Challenge or the Mini Mike Sports Car Challenge for LMP3 and GT4 cars, go to xmsracing.com/road.
Look at this, Petrowski trying to push Bennett along in the same way Dragota's been pushing Schwenke. Petrowski not being aggressive yet. See that he had opportunities. I think he decided to just see if he could just kind of de-draft a little bit behind Bennett, maybe help Bennett get a little push draft. They're still 3 seconds back though from Dragota and Schwenke. Look at Hartley right up in there as well. So you got a Porsche, a McLaren, and a Corvette. And an LMP2.
Petrowski took a lot of curbing at the apex
Yeah.
of the International Horseshoe there, and it really whipped the rear end around. Took a lot there to recover that car and get it back in line.
Charlie Hosea just kind of sitting behind them right here, maybe waiting for the back straight to go on by.
And so, Larry, with Hartley and Dam right behind Petrowski, remember both. Dam was the earliest of this group to pit, and I think Hartley pitted a lap earlier than Bailey Petrowski. Can that affect how much they push coming to the checkered flag?
I would be surprised if it really makes too much of a difference. They all pit reasonably close to the halfway mark of the race, right around that 35 to 38 minute. I think they're all going to have plenty of fuel on board unless somebody accidentally short fueled. Now, Dam, we know, had a pretty good pit stop exchange coming out ahead of Petrowski, even though he pitted while he was behind him on track. So Dam may have to save some fuel. Petrowski trying to make a move here, and Bennett can't make it stick. Hartley not able to make any moves there. Mike Dam now closing ever closer. This battle for third now is going to stretch 4 cars deep. I suspect if they needed to do any fuel savings, they would have done it prior to this point. Now it's just go at it and see what kind of positions you can fetch. None of these guys, Mike Dam came into tonight 8th in the points championship. Talk about Schwenke in 3rd, Bennett in 2nd, Petrowski, of course, your overall points leader. Rob Hartley missed a couple races, so he's down the order a little bit. Not really part of contention, but certainly is a part of this mix here at the end of this finale. It's a little move for Petrowski. If he's going to do it, it's probably going to be going into 1, as he does seem to get a really good run again through this bus stop. Might be Petrowski's chance. It's right here, like he did on Taj Edwards earlier. Probably go high and try to outbrake him into 1.
Oh, and here
There he
it
goes.
comes, Larry.
Yep.
There you have it.
So kind of straight line speed comparison there is here between the Porsche and the McLaren. Draft helps. But look at this.
Yeah,
Porsche's not going
with
anywhere.
the side draft there. And well, let's see how deep Petrowski has to go.
Remember, he struggled there. He had the spin by himself. He had the spin with the Mike Dam help. And maybe a little bit cautious there. Not able to go as deep under the brakes as he needed to outbrake Bennett. Good job for Bennett there in the Porsche. By the way, there was never a incident review of the Mike Dam tap into the back of Petrowski in turn 1. So that one for now is going to stand. We'll have to wait and see. The stewards never appeared to review that one. There's only been a couple other small reviews, nothing major to talk about. So right now they're racing for positions. This will be interesting. I do wonder if Dragota's got speed in the bag to try and make a pass, or if he's here to play the teammate game and help Swanky get max points and potentially get him to a second place in the championship. But it's going to be tough to do with Brian Bennett lurking there in third. That's going to be a tough points to overcome because they came in tonight about 24 points the advantage for Bennett over Schwenke. Bennett's just been a little more consistent this season. He's had one really bad race. That was the opening round at Indy. Look at Bailey again, trying to outbreak him. Not able to this time, but he's a lot closer. He's gonna stick his nose down the inside of the horseshoe.
And Bennett shuts it off.
Bennett likes racing tight quarters, shows he can do it. Doesn't matter how many points each other has, he's going to hold that position. 9 minutes to go.
Let's see here as they're coming up onto the 262 Corvette of Greg Brockway.
Brockway probably going to yield to this group here and let the whole field go by.
And wow, look at that as Petrowski tried to get that McLaren to rotate and maybe come underneath the Porsche as they came back up onto the tri-oval. The car rotated, but all he did then was spin the wheels.
Well, here he goes now. He might have enough room to get underneath. They're going to do the bus stop side by side. Petrowski with the advantage. Bennett's going to have to back off. He does.
And that's what he does. So move Petrowski up in the third position.
Yeah. Well, you were talking about him coming out of the West Horseshoe there, able to get a good run off the last corner onto the back oval there, and Petrowski able to use that advantage, take the position into the bus stop. But now, what kind of speed difference? We've seen Bennett hold off Petrowski twice now going into turn 1. Can he get enough of an advantage to outbreak him and take the position back? This lap. Meanwhile, Rob Hartley deep on the brakes in the Corvette.
And Petrowski again having to fight to keep the rear end underneath him, Larry.
Yeah. I wonder about those Corvettes, though. Now seeing how deep they can brake, are they going to have a chance against Bennett, even a better chance than perhaps the McLaren did against the Porsche?
Well, we just saw that in that sequence right there where Bennett switched from being on the attack going after Petrowski to then having to defend against Robert Hartley. Took a very defensive line down out of turn 2 heading to the horseshoe.
So now Petrowski may have the third spot right now. He's still, though, 3.5 seconds back from Schwenke and Dragota out in the front. That's this pair right here of the Corvette of Schwenke and the McLaren of teammate Leo Dragota. With 6 minutes to go on the clock, these two haven't so much as fight at all since they left the pits at the halfway point. I think they're watching that gap behind them very carefully. They don't want to give up position and just bring the whole field on in, knowing now it's championship leader Bailey Petrowski at the front of that train. That might scare him a little more than even Bennett. And look at Dragota here. Good run through the bus stop, and he's just going to nudge. Is he going to nudge? Is he actually going to be able to bump draft? It might be. Look at young Leo right there. You can look right in his eyes practically. Too realistic. It's way too realistic. Kind of creepy. Somebody make that sim blink. Blinks as often as Ryan Reisman.
Ooh, Petrowski a little bit further back.
See, there he is. These DNA entry guys, they don't blink at all. Reisman, Rose, I've had cameras on them before, and they don't blink. So realistic. All right, back to the battle here. Look at Petrowski now. We've got to be 4 or 5 car lengths already ahead of these guys, and it is Hartley ahead of Bennett.
That's what I was saying, Larry, is they came down into turn 1. A great move by Robert Hartley to get around the Porsche of Bennett. Let's take a look and see how it happened. Shake.
He pops out.
There you go, going into the bus stop.
Yeah. So Bennett now twice has been beat going into that bus stop. Once from the McLaren, now by a Corvette. Bennett's going to have to counter move here soon. We're running out of time. 4 minutes to go. Petrowski within 2. Yeah, Bailey's 2.3 now behind him. This is not over yet. At a half a second a lap, he can actually catch them here on the last lap. We can have a bit of a photo finish here between the D2D of Bailey Petrowski and these 2 Orion drivers. I wonder, though, did Bailey wait too long?
Well, I think a lot of it's going to be determined, Larry, on what what Leo Dragota decides to do. If he decides to hold station there, I think we will be okay. But obviously, the first time he steps out and I think tries to go side by side with Travis Schwenke through either one of the horseshoes, that could spell disaster there and trying to hold off Petrowski.
Tempting though, if you're Dragota, thinking I don't want to finish third, I gotta pass my teammate now and leave him to fend for himself. But at the same time, like you said, the 2 of them can finish 1-2 and hold off Petrowski if he just holds form. It's such a challenge right now in discipline, as Ben Rose, your championship leader in the GTPs, now comes up behind them as they turn on to the oval once more.
Yeah, I think all in the interest of possibly moving Schwenke past Brian Bennett in the championship. I just don't think there's enough of a margin there for
keep
Schwenke
an eye on this as Tanner Dibbles 2 seconds back from Jordan Butler, your race leader, who with 2.5 minutes to go is probably going to get 2 more laps out of this thing. Just there crossing the stripe to start a fresh lap. 2-second gap between Jordan Butler and his teammate Tanner Dibble, who would like to win this championship. Definitely a little bump draft going on here, isn't there?
Yeah, I think we know what the answer is, Larry.
Well, yeah, but Bailey Petrowski's within 2 seconds, and we got to figure 2 laps to go. He's been pulling about a half a second a lap. That could put him within 1 second of this thing on the final lap. And there's the graphic. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John. Well, I still think the operative plan here, Larry, is to maximize the points differential back to Brian Bennett for Travis Schwenke. And obviously having Leo leapfrog Schwenke would,
I'd tell you what, he needs his teammate Mike Dam then to do a little bit of work, because Rob Hartley, we saw, did his pass on Bennett to push him down to 5th. Mike Dam's the next in line to try and push Brian Bennett down a spot. That could help again to Travis Schwenke's opportunity for finishing 2nd. But he's got to get there and make a pass, as right now Mike Dam's got a mirrors full of your LMP2 leader, Josh Chinsky.
Reminds me of the old Speedwall Challenge days when Real Time and Mazda would bring out like 25 cars each for the last round.
All right, well, as we've got just about a minute to go in this thing, Jordan Butler is going to see the white flag. 1 lap to go for everybody.
Here we go.
Guys, about a lap and a quarter as they're making their way through the bus stop on their second to last round. Bailey Petrowski, 1.4 back. I don't know if he's going to have it on. It's going to be down to about maybe 2 laps that Bailey might need if Dragota and Schwenke can just play nice here.
The question is, can Hartley hold Bennett up enough to get Mike Dam up there? Oh.
Leo gonna try and make a move. And he does. But where's Petrowski? This is white flag lap. This is it.
Schwenke fights back, and he goes defensive coming into the International Horseshoe.
Oh,
Larry,
geez.
this battle is bringing Bailey Petrowski, our championship leader, right back into the fight. He is there.
That may have cost Leo a bunch, as he had a chance to hold second and a chance to win the race. He might end up in third. As we've got a handful of corners, they'll be on the back straight in a second, and I'm sure we've got Jordan Butler trying to win this race. There he is.
And there you go, taking the win here at the final round of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge in GTP. Jordan Butler, Tanner Dibble will finish in second as we jump back over to the fight for the lead in GT3. Travis Schwenke is your leader with Leo Dragota second, Bailey Petrowski third.
They can see the fireworks already going off, but they got a half a lap to go. They still got to get through the bus stop, and it's going to be McLaren at the finish for second, I think. I don't know that Schwenke is going to be reached. Oh, maybe. Look at this. Look at Dragota with a run.
Does he go high, try to draft pass at the very end? He moves up. Schwenke moves up just a little bit, and as they come to the line, taking the win in GT3, who is it going to be? It is Travis Schwenke, your winner by 6/1000ths of a second. Leo Dragota will finish second. Bailey Petrowski should be wrapping up the championship. He will finish in third. Rob Hartley will finish fourth. Brian Bennett holds off Mike Dam to finish in fifth. Over in LMP2, Josh Chinsky seemingly wraps up his championship in LMP2. There is the SRT Esports driver doing some ceremonial and celebrational donuts. He takes the win over teammate Caleb Lehman. Kyle Strikers comes home in third place.
Wow, what great run for Chinsky. Quiet night. He just pulled away from everybody, but what a battle in GT3 right down to the end. Goodness, as Leo decided to take a chance to win this thing and just about pulled it off. It was 8/1000ths was at the stripe between he and your race winner, Travis Schwenke, teammate. Wow, I can't wait to run the points here, see how it's going to stack up.
That is what we are going to be doing during the commercial break. You all are going to be watching some of our partners and sponsors that bring you the World Challenge here each season. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back. You have just seen the final round, the season finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge here from Daytona International Speedway on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go. Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to Daytona International Speedway. It is the World Center of Racing, and we've got all of our racers lined up there right at the start-finish line, where you have just seen round number 8 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge, where we name our champions of the season. But first, let's take a look at the finishing order from tonight's 75-minute race. Taking the win in GTP for DNA Motorsports was Jordan Butler, with his teammate Dalton Fredericks finishing, or probably Tanner Dibble finishing second. And then we've got Phantom Powers, Dalton Fredericks finishing in third. In LMP2, Josh Chinsky for SRT Esports stands atop the podium there with his teammates Caleb Lehman and Kyle Strikers to his left and to his right. And taking the win in GT3 this evening from Orion Racing, it is Travis Schwenke, Leo Dragota finishing second, and Bailey Petrowski from D2D Sim Racing finishing in third. All right, Larry, we do have a few of our racers in the green room. Let's do this. Let's start off with our GT3 winner tonight. Had a great battle, and I think probably the most pressure he came under was from his teammate trying to leave the pit lane this evening. Let's talk to Travis Schwenke, your GT3 winner from Orion Racing.
All right, Travis, this track, these races always seem to generate photo finishes. No different here tonight between you and your teammate, who seemed to be locked nose to tail the entire time. Even had a heck of a race coming down pit lane for your pit stops. What a night, what a race between you and Leo. Talk me through what you're feeling.
Nerves. I mean, it was. I definitely didn't like leading. I will say that. I'm not as good through the bus stop leading, so I'm just too careful, right? I'm so worried about spinning out or doing something. This car was a little sketchy through there, but yeah, I just had to sit there and try to run low 40 or high 44s, and didn't think that would let Bailey catch back up, but he was still trying to reel in. Then Leo sends it on the last lap, which he warned me he was going to send it. So I had a competitor, teammate warning there, so I knew that was going to happen, but was able to fight that off. And then he had to worry about him a little bit, so that helped me, I think. But he still was getting really good runs out of bus stop. It seemed like the Maka it was really good for the first part of the straight, and then just kind of died right at the end. So that's probably the only reason that I was able to stay in front.
Yeah, just unbelievable. As you guys had to be watching the gap to Bailey, because as he had his troubles throughout the race, it would kind of fade a little bit, then he would make up, and then he would fade, and he would make it up again. As you're watching the last 15 minutes, you're thinking, okay, he's in 5th place. Oh wait, no, he's in 4th. Oh wait a second, he's in 3rd. Are you guys just nose to tail thinking we can't separate because Bailey's going to be, he's just going to be right there?
Yeah, and the bump was huge. The bump makes a big difference on the straight here with that. So Leo bumping me down the straight when he could was a big help. So, I yelled at Mike for not holding him up. Mike said, well, I need this draft to catch up to you. And I'm like, well, that's not nice, but I understand, we're competitors. And as we've always said, we all race in this league. There's no team orders for us.
Yeah. Were you guys looking at the overall point standings and seeing if there's a chance for you to finish second? Because we're kind of loosely covering that, but I wasn't sure how closely you were watching it.
I look, and I believe I can get second with that. So I went over on the X's, but I don't know if I needed that bonus point or not. But when I ran the numbers quickly last week, I think I could make second.
And from the looks of it, and Larry, I think we've got the updated point standings now.
I don't think you're going to quite get enough to take Brian down from the second spot, as he was hovering right around that 4th, 5th spot right at the end of the race. I think he got enough points to hold you off for second, but still a heck of a run. This class is so deep. Every single week, it seems there's 4 or 5 of you fighting for another, one win that's available. So it's just unbelievable stuff from tonight. Great race for you and the team. Just awesome result.
Yeah, good stuff. Unfortunately, it happened to Taj. I mean, he had the same spin I think Bailey did. Someone threw some red shells or some oil down there, but thankfully he was able to recover. So, yeah,
well, a great run tonight, finishing out this wonderful season with a win third in the championship is a big deal, I think, in this season, in this depth of field that we've got here. So congrats on that. Anybody you want to give any special shout out and thanks to?
Thanks to you guys for covering this league. It's great having some professionals up here in the box calling it. Really good to listen to afterwards. So I really appreciate all your hard work. Appreciate obviously Extreme for putting this on. The team, of course, for all the work we do together, and Huffy.
All right, well, awesome job here. Travis Schwenke getting the win here tonight by 8 1/1000ths over the teammate. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right, let's jump over now. We're going to stay with GT3. Let's bring in our season 11 champion. Now, of course, he was your season 10 GTP champion. Made the move over to the GT cars and didn't let up. From D2D Sim Racing, Bailey Petrowski.
All right, so Bailey, we have run the numbers, and you have done it. You've clinched the championship here in GT3 overall. After last season's win in GTP, you jump right over. Not easy at all. In fact, tonight might have been a perfect example of not easy. You didn't get the win, but you certainly made a run at it. But boy, it was an up and down night for you.
Yeah, that was probably one of my messier races, but it was very back and forth. A lot of manipulated emotions throughout that race, and not having no clue where it was going to end. But it was exciting. It was a very stressful race, but it's a good way to finish a championship.
Yeah, and with the way as deep as this class is, finishing on the podium in any single race is always a challenge. Of tonight, boy, I tell you what, one more lap, you just might have been there at the front of that field. That was an amazing finish. You must have gotten a pretty good run. You know, Leo got a good run on that last bus stop. Walk me through what you saw and if you thought you had maybe a chance to get alongside those guys.
I felt like I had a chance the second that I saw that I was within 3 seconds of them, and I was just pushing as hard as I could from that point on, and then just praying the whole time that Leo would start fighting with Travis, because I figured he would start fighting eventually, but fortunately he did start battling, and that's what got me into the tow. And then I didn't get the exit I fully wanted from the bus stop. It was still a good exit, but not quite what I needed to pull up. If I think I hit it perfectly, I think I would have had a chance, or at least put us 3 wide. But still it was a very exciting way to finish that race.
Yeah, it certainly was a great way to finish the race, great way to finish the whole season. It was so exciting right up to the absolute end. But for you, it's a championship, and this is, I'm guessing this means a little bit, having done it in the prototypes, now to come back and win it in the GT.
Yeah, it's definitely I don't even know how to word it. It definitely feels different than winning the prototypes, because in the prototypes I felt like I was slowly working towards it. I was generally quick from the beginning, but I still took me a couple seasons before I started winning and won my first championship. So coming into it for my first season in this and then winning it's definitely special.
Yeah, well, it's well deserved. This has been a tough season. It seems there's challenges every single night, and to be able to come out on top of this is no small feat. So congratulations on that. But I know winning a championship isn't easy. You got teams and sponsors and family and everybody around you, but I'm sure you want to mention a few by name for helping you get there.
Yes, I brought my trusty list again. But yes, I definitely want to thank all of our sponsors for our teams. Invictus for one, sponsors all for the series, Ricmotech, the SCCA Foundation, Buttkicker, thank you guys at Apex Racing. All of you guys help make this series possible for us to race in, and it's just an amazing environment. I want to thank all the other drivers in the GT3 class tonight that I was battling with. There was some very respectful battles and had a lot of fun battling everyone out there. Want to thank friends and family for always supporting me and supporting my hobby and allowing me to race. And then thank you guys for broadcasting and commentating on these races. It's a lot of fun watching this back.
It's been a lot of fun broadcasting it this season. This has been something special for sure. I'm going to remember this one, and I'm sure you will as well. So you're
Absolutely.
GT3 champion for season 11, Bailey Petrowski. Congrats.
Thank you. Have a good night, you guys.
I love how he brought a list with him. we're training him up pretty well, Larry.
That's a sign of a champion. He's got the list there to read through. He knows what he's doing.
I'd like to thank the Academy. Yeah. All right. Let's move over now to LMP2. And I think this is a pretty easy one for us to work out. Taking the win tonight here in class and the Season 11 championship from SRT Esports. It is Josh Chinsky.
All right. Joining us here is our Round 8 winner and champion for the season, SRT Esports, Josh Chinsky. Josh, congrats on the championship. Another win here tonight. How much fun was this tonight under the lights at Daytona?
Oh, this was awesome, man. Thank you for everything this season. You guys have been awesome. This was a great race, honestly, and I was a little concerned with all of the changes that happened with the LMP2, how it would flow through traffic, whether or not everybody would be aware of the significant differences because of the lack of officials to practice in. But they did a great job. It was great passing through traffic. Really, this week was a heck of a week. I think I spent about 18 hours on track.
Wow.
Because we didn't have a setup baseline for the LMP2. All previous sets were null and void. So I've had my fill of Daytona for a while, and we got the 24 coming up too. So I can't catch a breath.
No rest for the weary there for sure. You'll be right back at it, I'm sure, as professionals do. You just put the time in to make the result, and that's what tonight was. You put that time in to earn the result, a win here. Your teammates, again, were super fast. Not sure what happened to Dave's connection. There may have been an issue there, but he and Caleb put a great fight on. Your whole SRT Esports team seemed to be strong once again.
Yeah, we got a great bunch. I love those guys to death, racing with them. Congrats to Caleb, P2 in the LMP2 championship. Shout out to SRT. Love that we brought home two trophies to SRT as well as the team championship. But unfortunate for Dave, it was one of those issues of where he cold tires coming out onto the tri-oval, just lost it. And then I think something happened with his sim immediately after that. So it was looking like it was going to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, but we'll settle for a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, it was an awesome night tonight for sure. You just showed class of the field once again to win this championship. I'm sure you got some folks, though, you want to thank and who helped you get there along the way.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. So, as I said, shout out to SRT. Appreciate all you guys do, being here every race, tuning in. Caleb, Kyle, Dave, you guys have been awesome to race against. You guys push me to be my best every year. My family, friends who are tuning in, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate the support throughout the season and watching me get a good amount of W's here. And last but not least, shout out to XMS and also shout out to Apex Racing. I mean, we couldn't do this without you guys taking the time away to do this for us. So we appreciate you guys. And I can say that I will be looking forward to seeing you guys next year and defending my title.
Awesome. We are totally looking forward to that. This has been a great season, bringing the LMP2s into it. I know the racing is going to get even better next year. But for this one tonight, you can go and celebrate a championship here for Josh Chinsky and SRT Esports.
Awesome. Thanks, Larry and Greg.
All right, thank you, Josh. All right, Larry, let's move over now to GTP.
Oof, it got tight there.
Yeah, very, very tight. And unfortunately, we don't have our champion waiting to be interviewed. So we're going to probably have to do the next best thing.
Let's bring in the race winner.
Yeah, I was gonna say bring in Bobby Childs, but yes, let's bring in our race winner. But let me just say this, Larry. I think there were 12 points coming into the evening, separating first and second in the GTP championship. Ben Rose, our season 11 champion, 6 points separating him from both Dalton Fredericks and Tanner Dibble, who finished the season tied for second. All right, let's bring in our winner tonight in GTP. That is Jordan Butler.
All right, joining us here is Jordan Butler getting the win here at the round 8 at Daytona. And Jordan, heck of a race. It was back and forth, 3, 4, 5 of you all involved in the first stint of this thing. And finally, you grabbed that lead and didn't want to look back the rest of the way. You got pushed a bunch there. from your teammate. But in the end, Jordan, you get the win here tonight. Talk me through a little bit what was going through your mind and how that played out for you.
Yeah, thank you very much. At the beginning of the race, I was really just focused on just trying to hang with my teammates, because Ben, I really think, had the pace tonight. Unfortunately, he had a little incident in the first stint there, and he dropped back a little bit. But then it was me and Tanner kind of hanging with each other. And I managed just to save one more lap of fuel, and I came out of the pits ahead of him, and then I can kind of stretch my legs there. And I pulled a little bit of a gap to kind of account for traffic, because traffic can be pretty bad. And then by the end, I had just enough to stay ahead.
Yeah, were you aware? I know you came into tonight a little bit further down in the point standing and missed a few rounds here and there, but were you aware of the points implications coming up to the end of how close it might be between Tanner and Ben and the others?
So we were talking about it a little bit in the car when we had first, second, and third kind of as a team. We were talking about the points a little bit, and we figured Ben had the championship wrapped if he just didn't finish last. Yeah. So we were kind of afraid when he had his incident that maybe he'd have to take a long repair, but he's able to come out and finish 6th or 7th, I think. Then it was down to me and Tanner, and we thought Tanner had a 1 position gap. So we thought as long as Tanner finished in front of Dalton, we thought he had it. But then I just checked the scoring, and it looked like they tied on points, so it was a little bit closer than we expected.
Yeah, that's the end of the points are, for those not looking at the points like you and I are, Ben Rose is going to win this championship with a total of 434 points. Tied for second, Tanner Dibble with 428, just 6 points back. And then, of course, tied for second with him is Dalton Fredericks, who came in tonight in that second spot. So it may have been, had Tanner been able to catch you for the win, he may have had enough in that flip of points to catch Ben. But it was, in the end, it was going to be one of the DNA guys up there at the front for sure, whether it was Ben or Tanner, with you getting the win here tonight. It's got to feel pretty good that the whole team sort of had control of the destiny, so to speak.
Yeah, and that's kind of what you want to happen. We kind of locked out the front here, and we were able to run our own race. If Dalton kind of got in the mix there, it would have been a little harder, because we would have to have someone to fight and someone to push, and we couldn't just take it easy. So, I was able to save some fuel, whereas if we were in a battle, I couldn't save fuel.
Right.
So, that strategy worked out really well, and luckily we got through traffic pretty well. So, it was a good race. It was a good race.
Yeah, well, awesome job here for you to get the win here in the finale of this thing. And again, once showing a bit of domination there for the DNA team, getting a championship for one of the teammates and a second place there for one of the others. So awesome job here tonight for you, Jordan. But I'm sure, you want to maybe mention some of those teammates or family and friends to help you get this win.
Yeah, first of all, as far as the racing goes, Ben actually really helped me out tonight, because with the update, our old setups didn't work. So we actually took the iracing baseline setup and just kind of worked from there, and he found something that worked really well. So me and him were running the same setup tonight, so I got to thank him for giving me a fast car. And then, teammates for helping me out. And then, of course, my girlfriend sitting over here on the couch, let me do this on Monday nights, and being a good sport about it. So shout out to her too.
All right, well, awesome job tonight, Jordan. Getting the victory here for DNA Motorsports, taking overall at Daytona in the finale of the season. Congrats.
Thank you.
All right, Larry, let's move over now. We talked about the award that we've given away for a number of the past seasons.
Just to mention that had Ben here, but we would talk to him. Ben is not in the green room. We're not avoiding him.
No, not at all. We would bring him in if he were here for us to do so. But in the meantime, we've talked to Larry about the great support that we get from our sponsors like Buttkicker, that once again is giving away a Buttkicker Gamer Plus package, a $279.95 package, and here to talk a little bit more about that and perhaps some of the upcoming seasons for our different Extreme Motorsports race series. Let's bring in XMS Vice President and Assistant Director of Competition, Jeff Jacobs.
Hey, Jeff Jacobs joining us here as we've got a prize to give. Jeff, it's been a great season. This has been, I would say, one of the most successful seasons in this series. It's been a ton of fun to watch, but tonight we get to give away a little extra prize, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, one of our sponsors for the series, and you're right. Thank you for saying that, because man, our drivers, what a job they did. And when you see the difference between week one, where a lot of folks don't know each other and their driving styles, and then tonight, where folks can run door to door and nose to tail, and we had some great battles out there. So really exciting, but also exciting. Buttkicker has been our sponsor now for I think 4 seasons, and this is, I believe, will be the 5th Buttkicker Gamer Plus Unit that we're going to give away. And the way we do this is we take everybody's championship points and we put them into a random number generator here, and it sort of does a sweepstakes drawing for us. And so you could be your class winner with 350 points for the season, or you could have been in 10th place and only had 150 points, but you still got 150 entries into this drawing. So as you're about to see, literally anybody has a shot at winning this. In fact, the person who won it this season started a lap down tonight.
Yep.
Mr. Bobby Childs was our Buttkicker winner, and I think he'll be excited about that. He is actually, the timing probably couldn't be better either, because he has been working really hard on his sim rig, new pedals, a whole new setup, and I think he's going to be really delighted about the Buttkicker system.
Well, why don't we bring him in? I think he's
additional immersion. It's Bobby Childs.
He's in the green room. Let's bring him in for a second and see if we can get the Bobby experience here, the full reaction.
All right. Well, if one person needs a butt kicker, it's Bobby Childs.
Bobby, you've won the Buttkicker. How's this going to work? You're fully immersed now. This was this going to push you over the top for a championship, isn't it?
It certainly will, guys. I can tell you, it's been hard times for Bobby Childs, and this is just what I needed to get me to that next plateau, to the top of the order of the world championship.
Well, we all want that, Bobby, for sure. Fan favorite as always, and the fans didn't get to vote in this, but I'm sure though if they had, they would have made sure that the result was the same.
Champion.
The people's champion.
People's champion. That's right. Not the. I don't got no people's elbow, but I can tell you, it's still no. I gotta say a big thank you to our sponsors, Buttkicker. Absolutely awesome. Everybody who keeps showing up week to week in chat. It's why we do this. It's why we're pushing so hard to put on even a better show for you guys. It's pretty awesome to win that. It's amazing.
I mean, just
really
imagine
is,
how realistic those impacts and bouncing through the grass is going to feel.
Oh yeah, man. The way the engine's going to feel as I start a lap down on pit road, I'll feel the feeling of the concrete as I shift from concrete to pavement, and the rumble as all the leaders pass me. It'll be amazing.
You can feel the tension in the room with one driver accusing the other of maybe a lot of crashes, the other one accusing the steward of maybe penalties. This is a great way to hand out a prize here.
Oh, no,
Bobby.
I earned
Yes,
it. Man.
Bobby,
that's why I'll be very honest. That's why I ran the whole race, because I earned that penalty. And I have to do my time just like anyone else.
And Larry, when you think about this statistically, how difficult it would have been for Bobby to win this, given how well he did tonight in some of these other races.
And just shocking. For the record, he finished exactly 1 lap down, which is exactly where he started. So he finished on the lead lap. Might have had one of his best races of the season tonight that no one's going to talk about, but other than.
That's right.
Yes. I will send it to Oklahoma for Stubby. We'll share it back and forth. As he races. I believe he's finally got his setup, I think he's going to start racing in the Mazdas. Last time we talked, I think he's going to start out in rookies here on iRacing. So I'm excited to see Stubby finally get behind the wheel and share his progress.
Just don't convert all of our viewers into actual races. We've already got a couple of the Klim Club going to be jumping into the season next. I you start taking Stubby away. That's half our viewership.
Wow, man, we have got a packed field for next season already, too, guys. Yes, it is absolutely jam packed. We have got an extraordinary GTP field. The GT3 field is, like you said, the Klimovich guys have expanded. Dragon Sport Racing has expanded. Orion is bringing in more guys. It is going to be huge.
Well, we are totally looking forward to it, but I'm just happy that one of the best guys, Bobby, I'm really happy you won this thing tonight. I know that you're going to give us full feedback on this one next season as to your experience with it and what it feels like to have a butt kicker in your rig. So we're definitely looking forward to getting you back on air and give us how that the full recap.
I'll give you feedback on the feedback.
Awesome.
I was just going to say, Larry, after he gets full feedback, we'll be getting it from him.
We will get the same feedback. So,
yes.
Awesome job. Thank you, Buttkicker. Awesome prize.
Thank you, guys.
And Bobby, congrats.
And
thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it.
And again, to turn up the immersion in your sim rig, head to thebuttkicker.com. Thank you, Jeff. Really appreciate it. And Larry, as we were talking to the people's champion, let's bring in the real GTP champion who showed up in the green room. Let's bring in from DNA Motorsports, Ben Rose.
All right, so joining us here is Ben Rose. Ben, I wasn't sure if you were doing the math or thought perhaps you didn't have a chance at a championship, but maybe you checked the math a little bit and it's worked in your favor by 6 points across an 8-event season. You are the GTP champion. Congrats. Probably not the way you wanted tonight's race to go, but in the end, you get the overall win.
Yes, not the way it went, but I'm very glad that I got the championship. I turned into Einstein the last couple of laps, after the second stint, trying to calculate, kind of like that meme with the woman and the formula. So I was just trying to figure it out. I knew that I needed about 4 spots if for any reason Dalton managed to get ahead of me. And I want to give a really big shout out to Ryan. He kind of sacrificed his position just to ensure that I won it. So I got to thank Ryan for that. And I got pole. I was really cruising in the front, just trying to manage the pace and the fuel. But it was unfortunate. I think turn 6, one of the LMP2 lost it and kind of went back on the track. And I tried to avoid him and he hit me in the right front tire, and I got tire damage. I had about 10 degrees slant to the right, so I was losing a lot of time. And when I pit, I had a repair time of optional repairs of 1:40. I figured, let me take the full thing, and I might have an opportunity rather than limping, because I believe I was losing almost 2 seconds per lap.
Yeah.
So I kind of figured, hey, might as well go for it.
Well, we had seen the long pit stop. We weren't quite sure what was going on there, but when you came back out with it, okay, he still has a chance in this thing, at least to try and score some points. And Chuck had to be just nerve-wracking for that entire second half of the race. Meanwhile, while you're trying to drive at the highest level to win a championship, you're also, like you said, you're being Einstein with the math in the back of your head. It's got to be so distracting. How do you focus on just finishing the race and try to not worry about the points in the end?
I think towards the last maybe 15 minutes, I said, Ryan, at that point said he will sacrifice that position for me. So I said that's the best I can do, and if I get it, I get it. If not, I won't. But I just kept pushing because I figured something might happen, and maybe I can get another position and be more secure. But I was just really pushing as best as I could through traffic and trying not to get any more damage and just complicate it even more.
Well, awesome job. It was really a full team effort here tonight with, of course, your teammate winning the race, another teammate with a chance at a championship ends up in second place at this thing, another teammate sacrificing a spot so you can maximize your points. That's a full team effort there, and I'm sure you want to give those guys, as well as probably a few others, a big thanks for helping you win this thing.
Oh, definitely. Ryan, of course, Tanner and Butler, we work together. We're going to ensure that we kind of help each other no matter what, regardless of where we are in the track, but to ensure that the team benefits the most in the end and that at least one of us, maximizes the results. And of course, my wife, who actually came in here a couple of minutes before asking if I wanted or not, she was actually interested for once. I want to thank her for that. And my son as well, who came by and says, so did you win or not? And I said, yes. He goes, did you really? I'm like, yeah, okay. And then he just left. So yeah, to my family, and of course, and to the organization for putting such a great show as usual, and you guys for the commentating. I do want to say that Bobby winning is rigged. I'm sorry, he might be the people's champ, but unfortunately, Road America should have disqualified him for the butt kicker. Okay, no, I kid. Bobby's a great guy.
But Ben, probably the bigger question is, how is Bobby going to deal with the butt kicker when you guys race at Sebring the next time?
Well, he better seatbelt himself and tuck himself in, because if Bobby goes up that, I'm sure that it's going to be a lot of chaos.
It just might be. Maybe he won't want it at that point. I don't know. We'll see. It might be too much for him to handle. We're at Sebring bouncing across the concrete seams. But at that point, then you can get on the chat and laugh at him. Say, how's that butt kicker now, Bobby?
Oh, definitely. Yes. I'm sure. Like you said, he's gonna give us the review on the review, or the
feedback on the feedback.
The feedback on the feedback. Yeah. Okay. Yep. No, Bobby's great. He deserves it.
Yeah, a lot of fun there. But tonight, nerve-wracking as it may have been, you did what you had to do. You get the help from all the teammates to get there to win this championship for the team, for yourself, for your family. So congrats, Ben Rose, your GTP champion here in our World Challenge. Awesome job.
Thank you guys, and can't wait for the next season and talk to you guys again. Hopefully, I'll talk to you again on the first round.
Let's hope so.
Have a good night, everyone.
All right, there you go, everybody. Ben Rose from DNA Motorsports, your Season 11 GTP champion. All right, Larry, let's start to wrap things up here. It is getting quite late, and we can only make so many jokes about Bobby. So here we go. Let's quickly take a look at what we've got coming up. We've got a couple weeks off, but we return January 6th with the Season 8 first race of the season for the Ricmotech Mini-Mite Sports Car Challenge for our LMP3 and GT4 racers. Again, going back to a 60-minute race format all season long. And then the following week, January 13th, the World Challenge returns for season number 12. If you want to find out about if you want to get on the grid for either one of those two series, please head to xmsracing.com/road. And then, of course, the Touring Car Cup will be returning at the end of April for our MX-5 Cup racers and GR86 Cup racers. So hopefully we'll have Stubby out of rookies and ready to race come the end of April. All right, Larry, anything before we wrap up and close things down for Season 11?
This has been, I think, one of the best seasons we've seen. The competition is so deep. The drivers are doing amazingly. Jeff talked about it. These drivers, some of them didn't know each other at the start of the season, and now look how closely they can race side by side. This is the best. If you haven't signed up for next season of the World Challenge or next season of the sports car, you're going to miss out. This has been just fantastic, and I'm looking forward to calling them next time around.
All right, well, there you go. So for Larry Lefty McLeod, for Jonathan Grabowski behind the scenes, I'm Greg Ginsburg, and we'll see you in just a few weeks, January 6th. Have a wonderful Christmas holidays, Hanukkah, if you observe it, and a happy New Year as well. We'll see you soon. Good night, everybody.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.